People keep talking about apologies like they're some sort of spiritual performance. Not a simple apology, no, that's not enough anymore. People want a Broadway-level spectacle. You can't just say sorry, that's outdated. That's like flipping a cassette tape with a pencil outdated. People want a whole emotional parade with fog machines, slow music, and a tear rolling down your cheek at exactly the right moment like it was directed by a man wearing a scarf indoors. They want this dramatic confession where you stop every few seconds like your soul is buffering. And if you don't do it like that, they go, well, he didn't mean it. How do they know? Do they have a sorry detection radar now? Are people sitting at home with charts and graphs measuring sincerity like they're inspecting a diamond? This apology has flaws. Score 6 out of 10. No sparkle. That's the ridiculous part. People don't want apologies. They want theater. They want you to collapse emotionally, then rebuild yourself in front of them while they sip tea and go, interesting character development. They're not even interested in forgiveness. Forgiveness isn't the goal. Forgiveness is boring, it's silent, it doesn't trend. You know what trends outrage, because outrage is fun. Outrage is a carnival. Forgiveness is a library. Nobody gets excited about forgiveness unless they're being forgiven for not paying a parking ticket. Then, suddenly, forgiveness is the greatest moment of their spiritual journey. And somehow, society has gotten into this idea that everyone owes them a customized apology crafted like a wedding invitation. People want your apology to reflect their personal emotional needs. You understand, right? When you apologize, it's not really about you being sorry. It's about me feeling like you're sorry in the specific way I prefer. Apologies shouldn't come with instructions, you know. There shouldn't be a proper apology guidebook, like you're assembling a piece of furniture. Step 1, position the remorse at a 45-degree angle. Step 2, tighten the humility screws. Step 3, attach 2 tears to the left eye socket. It's gotten so weird that people even rehearse apologies now. Imagine that, practicing a sorry who practices sorrow. People stand in front of mirrors going, does this regret look believable? No, let me tilt my head a little. Maybe add a tremble in my voice. Why are grown adults doing dress rehearsals for their feelings? Nobody practiced apologizing when they were kids. Kids apologize like nature intended. You tell a kid to say sorry, they look at the other kid, they go, sorry, and 2 minutes later they're sharing cookies. No drama, no emotional contortion, but adults. Adults need lighting, they need ambience. You could tell an adult, apologize, and they act like they're preparing for a courtroom scene. They want to deliver their apology monologue like they're auditioning for a play called, I might not mean this, but please approve of me. And the weirdest part is how people hold apologies hostage now. They negotiate, they bargain. If you apologize like this, then maybe I'll consider forgiving you sometime next spring. Forgiveness has become a coupon with an expiration date, and the apology is now a puzzle with missing pieces. People want to feel powerful with it. They treat an apology like a leash. They pull it, tighten it, test it, say it slower, say it sadder, say it like you regret being born. Yes, that's the tone. It's like the world is addicted to other people's shame. People don't even want your remorse to be real. They want it to be entertaining. They want to watch you crumble like a bad dessert. They want to feel morally superior. It gives people a warm feeling in their chest, like eating a fresh naan. Ah yes, I am better than this person today. What a delightful sensation. They don't want growth, they want drama. They don't want humanity. They want the spectacle of a public meltdown because it distracts them from the fact that their own life is held together with luck and prayer. And the funniest thing is that the people demanding these grand apologies, they never apologize like that themselves, of course not. When they mess up, they want a simple, hey, mistakes happen. They want the whole world to treat them like a puppy that knocked over a flower vase. Oh, he didn't mean it, he's just learning. But when someone else messes up, they want them dragged into the town square like an old-time moral festival. Explain yourself in detail, bring charts. We want emotional data. We want historical context, and don't forget the trembling lip. It's easy to demand perfection when you don't have to provide it. People want apologies to be flawless, even though they themselves are walking around with the emotional stability of a loose ceiling fan. They expect apologies that are poetically phrased, spiritually rich, morally pure. Meanwhile, they apologize like, "my bad," and that's the entire statement. They don't even look up from their food when they say it. But if someone else apologizes without a single teardrop rolling down the left cheek at the perfect cinematic angle, nope, not good enough. There's something fascinating about how society started treating apologies like resumes. People do background checks on regret now. When did he say sorry? What exact words did he use? Did he look down at the floor at any point? Was his breathing pattern remorseful enough? Who knew feeling bad came with so many required qualifications? If people asked for sincerity in relationships the way they demand it in public apologies, nobody would have dated anyone in history, ever. People would have stayed single forever because nobody's feelings are that aligned with the weather patterns of someone else's opinion. And the whole time, people pretending to be offended, half of them aren't even offended. They just like being part of a crowd. Outrage has this group discount effect. It's like a social sale. Buy one outrage, get two friends angry for free. People join outrage the way they join lines they don't understand. They see a long line and think something important must be happening, and boom, they're in it. They don't even know what the apology was about. They're just standing there going, "Yeah, terrible, disgraceful. What happened? No idea, but I feel morally hydrated." Sometimes it feels like the world is run by people who failed theater class but still crave the spotlight. They use apologies as their moment to shine. They comment on them. They analyze them like critics reviewing a play. I felt the sorrow in the first act, but the second act lacked emotional depth. 2 stars. They rate your apology like a restaurant review. Good flavor, missing seasoning. There was a time not long ago when an apology was a simple human thing. You said sorry, the other person said okay, life moved on. You didn't need an orchestra behind you. You didn't need a moral committee to approve the wording. You didn't need 12 strangers sitting at home deciding whether your facial expression fit their personal definition of guilt. It was human. Imperfect, real. Now people want the emotional equivalent of a 5-course meal. They want regret served on a silver platter with a side of anguish and a dessert of self-reflection. They want you to open your soul and let them poke around like tourists in your personal museum. Oh, look at this sculpture of his deepest shame, marvelous craftsmanship. And if you give them anything less, even slightly less, then suddenly you're not sorry at all. That's the rule. There's no kind of sorry. There's no trying to understand your mistake. People want the full meltdown or nothing. The world has no patience for quiet reflection anymore. Reflection doesn't sell. Dramatic tears do. Emotional gymnastics do. They want to see your feelings jump through flaming hoops of self-punishment. But the truth is, most apologies don't need to be public. Most apologies don't need an audience. Most apologies don't need commentary or ratings or emotional referees. Most apologies just need honesty. They need 2 people who are willing to treat each other like human beings instead of performers. But humanity isn't trending. Humanity doesn't get applause. Vulnerability doesn't get replayed unless it looks extravagant. So when someone stands there and gives an apology that doesn't match the world's demand for drama, the crowd doesn't know what to do with it. They freeze, they glitch, they look confused. Wait, he said sorry like a normal person. What are we supposed to do with that? It's not shiny enough, does not compute. This strange era transformed sorry from a human moment into a public circus. But the circus only exists because people like watching other people bend themselves into shapes. Not physical shape, emotional ones. It's a spectator sport now. But there's something powerful about refusing to perform sorrow and instead choosing to be human about it. Something honest, something grounded. Something that reminds people that humanity isn't a show, it's a mess. And maybe the reason people don't know how to handle a simple apology anymore is because a simple apology reminds them of their own imperfections. And that's the real reason people want dramatic apologies. It distracts them from the apology they owe themselves. That's why sorry has become theater, because people are terrified of their own truth. And the only way to break that cycle is to stop pretending that a performance can fix what honesty is meant to. You ever notice how people love pretending they don't think the things they actually think? It's incredible. You say something honest, just a basic human thought, one of those thoughts everyone has when they're alone brushing their teeth or staring at a wall, and suddenly the world acts like you've broken a sacred rule of the universe. People sit there gasping like someone unplugged their morals. They clutch their pearls, their chest, the side of their face, the nearest friend. Anything they can grab as long as it helps them show everyone, look, I'm offended. I'm incredibly, wonderfully offended. But deep down they know. They know those thoughts live inside their own heads too. They lock them up in a drawer and pretend the drawer doesn't exist. Meanwhile, anyone who opens the drawer on stage becomes the bad guy. Not because the drawer shouldn't exist, but because everybody else wants to pretend they don't have one just like it at home. It's so strange that honesty, actual honesty, not that polite, filtered good, mood honesty, gets treated like a crime. Like telling the truth about the messy side of being human is some type of scandal nobody was prepared for. What makes it funny is that people will secretly relate, every single one of them. They'll hear an honest line and some part of their brain goes, yeah, I've thought that. But then they cover their face and pretend they didn't. Because admitting that someone else said the thing out loud means they have to admit the thought lived in their own head first. And nobody wants to do that. Everyone wants to be the moral superhero of their own story. Everyone wants to stand on a pedestal made of air, claiming, I never think such things, while life taps them on the shoulder going, yes you do, you thought it yesterday. Society loves pretending it's clean. That's the funniest part. People walk around acting like their brains are little temples of purity. No mess, no confusion, no contradictions, just peace, wisdom, and whatever moral guideline they found in a magazine once. But that's not how humans work. Humans are messy. Brains are messy. They're filled with strange thoughts that pop up like uninvited guests at a dinner party. You don't want them there, but they show up anyway, carrying weird opinions and awkward memories. And the more you try to shove them out the door, the louder they get. The problem is, humans hate the idea that someone else knows they're messy. They want to keep that hidden. They want to show only the parts that get applause. So when someone on stage points at the weirdness we all share, people panic. They go, he shouldn't say that. Why? Because it reminds them of something they've thought before. That's the real issue. They don't want to be exposed. They don't want their internal reality displayed in public, even if the entire room shares the exact same reality. It's like people want comedians, or anyone talking honestly, to live in some sanitized fantasy world. One where humans don't have weird impulses, strange ideas, awkward moments, or questionable inner monologues, but come on, everyone knows the inside of a human head is a chaotic little circus. We've all got that one thought that jumps out like a clown with a frying pan. But instead of admitting it, people pretend their minds are pristine gardens of enlightenment, and the second someone describes the clown, they accuse him of unleashing moral pollution. It's not that they're shocked by the thought. The shock is that someone actually said it. People love keeping their truth in the attic where nobody can see it. They lock it up, throw away the key, and tell everyone the attic is empty. Then someone comes along, opens the same attic door in his own house, and brings the creatures out into the living room. Suddenly the crowd acts like those creatures are unique and monstrous, but they've got the same creatures at home. They just don't want to admit it. There's this funny thing about honesty. People claim they want it until they get it, then they try to return it like a defective appliance. No, 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 I didn't ask for that kind of honesty. I meant honesty about things I'm comfortable hearing. That's not honesty, that's decoration. That's honesty with the edges sanded off so it won't poke their feelings. Actual honesty is rough, it's uncomfortable. It makes people notice things about themselves they would rather keep buried under politeness and small talk. Anyone who says out loud the things people whisper in their own heads becomes the villain of the story. That's the rule. You're allowed to think it, you're allowed to feel it, you're allowed to relate to it, but don't you dare say it. The moment you say it, suddenly you're responsible for all the thoughts people don't have the courage to admit. It's like they hand their guilty conscience to you and go, "Here, you take it. I don't want it anymore." And of course, the best part is how people suddenly develop selective morality. They'll laugh at the same type of joke in private with their friends late at night when nobody's watching. They'll repeat the line, they'll giggle, they'll enjoy it, but when they're in a big crowd where they need to appear clean and pure, suddenly the joke becomes unacceptable. Suddenly, they're the guardians of virtue. It's like people have two personalities, the real one and the showroom model. And the showroom model is always spotless, polished, morally aligned with every popular opinion, and absolutely useless for everyday life. People act like saying something honest magically makes you responsible for every flaw humanity has, but that's ridiculous. People already think these things. The thoughts don't sneak into their heads when someone says them on stage. They were there the whole time. The difference is just that some people have the nerve to acknowledge them publicly, and acknowledging the truth doesn't create the truth. It just reveals it. It's strange that society punishes the truth. Tellers more than the truth, hiders. You'd think the person willing to expose their flawed humanity would be the admirable one. But no. Society rewards the ones who pretend to be perfect. The ones who walk around like they've never had a questionable thought. The ones who hide everything under a carpet and stand on top of it proudly, hoping nobody notices the giant lump of reality under their feet. Meanwhile, the person who says, "Hey, look, there's stuff under there," gets yelled at for pointing it out. There's a fear people have about being exposed morally, not exposed like breaking rules, exposed like being human in the ways they secretly are but publicly deny. People want to maintain the illusion that their internal world is tidy. They want to look like they've figured life out, but nobody has. Nobody is walking around with a perfectly structured moral compass that never wobbles. Everyone is improvising. Everyone is making it up as they go. But the moment someone admits that, someone else jumps up going, "How dare you speak that truth out loud? You're supposed to lie like the rest of us." And the real comedy is that if everyone just admitted how messy they are, half the problems in the world would shrink overnight. But nobody wants to be first. Nobody wants to be the one who says, "Yeah, I have weird thoughts sometimes." Because the crowd will turn on them, not because they're unique, but because the crowd doesn't want to confess they're the same. It's the ancient tradition of blaming the person holding the mirror. People don't like mirrors unless they're flattering. Human beings have this obsession with appearing righteous. They want to act like they're made of clean choices, gentle thoughts, and pure intention. But we all know that's not true. Reality is much more complicated. People feel things they shouldn't feel. People think things they don't mean. People react in ways they don't understand, and that's perfectly normal. That's what makes humans interesting. But pretending those feelings don't exist makes everyone miserable. The real reason people get upset when someone speaks honestly is because it breaks the social agreement to pretend. It violates the contract of hypocrisy everyone signs when they wake up in the morning. People choose which version of themselves they want to present to the world, and they expect everyone else to obey the same script. When someone goes off script, when someone acknowledges the parts of themselves that everyone else keeps buried, the audience gets uncomfortable. Not because of the words being spoken, but because they suddenly realize the script they're following is fake. But honesty will always outlive performance. Performances end. Scripts get forgotten. Polite facades crumble. The truth, the real human truth, never disappears. It just sits quietly in the background, waiting for someone brave enough to say it out loud. And that's why someone who simply speaks honestly becomes the target, because honesty reveals that everyone else is pretending, and people hate when their pretending gets exposed, because deep down, everyone knows the truth. They just hope no one says it out loud. You ever notice how Hollywood acts shocked at everything? Everything. They have one facial expression, this wide-eyed hand on chest look like someone just told them the sun rises in the east. They act surprised by things everyone already knows. It's like the entire place has amnesia, but only for the things that make them look innocent. They'll watch the wildest stuff happen every day, right in front of their faces, things that would send a normal person into therapy for a decade. But the moment someone says something blunt, something human, something that doesn't fit their delicate fantasy bubble, suddenly they act like the world just split open. Hollywood shock is not real shock. Real shock is when you open your electricity bill and see a number that makes you rethink your life choices. Hollywood shock is theater. It's performance shock. It's shock with a personal trainer and perfect lighting. It's the kind of shock you rehearse in the mirror while adjusting your hair. People over there have built entire careers out of pretending to be surprised. They're professional reactors. They could watch a toaster pop and react like they just witnessed a meteor hit the earth. And somehow, they always act like they have no idea how humans behave, none. Like they're studying humanity the way a scientist studies an ant colony. Oh look, regular humans have flaws, fascinating, somebody call a meeting. They're always confused by basic human nature, even though they make movies about every possible human flaw. They write scripts about greed, jealousy, mistakes, awkwardness, heartbreak, desperation, every messy thing people do, then pretend they've never encountered any of those things in real life. It's like they believe human flaws only exist on screen, and once you leave the set, you must return to being a perfect, flawless mannequin. They act shocked at things they invented. It's amazing. They'll make a movie where people do insane things, chase each other, betray each other, argue, cry, fall apart. And the audience loves it because it feels real. But the moment a real person acts real, Hollywood gasps. They do that dramatic inhale, like they're auditioning for a role where the character discovers a secret family. The whole town practically faints. It's like everyone suddenly becomes a Victorian lady with a fragile heart. Oh dear, the truth, how dreadful. Hollywood loves pretending they live above the human condition. They're floating on a little cloud of glamour, far away from the messy emotions the rest of humanity swims in. They pretend they're made of glitter and good decisions. They act like they've transcended the things that make people complicated. As if everyone living in those hills meditates at sunrise, drinks only purified unicorn tears, and has their moral compass checked by a stylist every morning. But the truth is, they're human. They're just as messy as anybody. They're just better at hiding it behind expensive lighting. And the funniest part is how coordinated their shock is. It's synchronized. They all react together like a dance troupe. One person gasps, the next person gasps, then the whole group gasps in harmony. It's like watching a flock of birds change direction at the same time. You don't know how they do it, but it's oddly impressive. They could turn human discomfort into an Olympic sport, judges from around the world giving them scores for dramatic outrage. Ah yes, very elegant gasp, but the hand placement lacked conviction. Hollywood also loves pretending they never saw anything coming. Even when they absolutely did. They could watch something unfold for years, right in front of them, but once the public finds out, suddenly Hollywood says, we're shocked, deeply shocked, utterly shocked. They use the word shocked the way teenagers use literally, as a filler. It means nothing. They say it so often it might as well be the official greeting of the industry. Hello, I'm shocked to meet you. You could tell a Hollywood executive the sky is blue today, and they'd reply, shocking, truly shocking. People in that town live in a state of permanent dramatic concern. They always look like they're thinking about something very important, even when they're not thinking at all. They like to project this image of constant emotional intensity. Everything is a big deal. Every minor inconvenience is a saga. They'll call a meeting to discuss the meeting they're planning to have about the thing they already decided. And during the meeting, someone will announce they're shocked about something nobody cares about. They thrive on public drama because it keeps them relevant. They need shock the way plants need sunlight. If there's no drama, they'll create some just to stay entertained. They'll pretend to be surprised by behavior that happens in every regular neighborhood on Earth. People get awkward People say the wrong thing, people mess up, that's life. But in Hollywood, a normal mistake becomes a catastrophic moral earthquake. They pretend they've never seen anything imperfect in their lives. Meanwhile, half the people sitting in judgment have stories from 1983 alone that could fill a whole library. There's this strange emotional theater in that town. People walk around holding their emotions like props. They know exactly when to act concerned, when to act outraged, when to act supportive. It's choreography. It's not real life. It's a stage where everyone performs being a perfect citizen. They perform empathy like it's an award nomination. For best performance in pretending to care, the nominees are. But real empathy isn't loud. Real empathy doesn't need applause. Hollywood empathy comes with a spotlight and music swelling in the background. And when something human happens, something raw, something unfiltered, they don't know how to react without pretending. They reach for the nearest emotional script, flip through the pages, find the scene labeled public outrage, and read their lines. We are shocked. We are appalled. We are disappointed. They deliver it with perfect diction and a solemn expression like they're announcing the end of the world. It's not real. It's the same script they use for everything. The funniest thing is the disconnect between their public shock and their private conversations. In private, they nod, shrug, roll their eyes like normal people, but in public, oh no. Public reactions must be dramatic. Public reactions must sound like they're issuing a statement from a royal palace. They talk like they're delivering history's most important message. We must process this revelation with deep seriousness. Meanwhile, the actual revelation is something every human has done at least once. Hollywood loves pretending to be surprised because it makes them seem cleaner than they are. If they show shock, it means they couldn't possibly relate to the thing they're shocked about. It absolves them from being human. It keeps the audience believing they're polished, disciplined beings living in a golden bubble. But that bubble is made of soap, not gold. It pops every time someone says something true. The real reason Hollywood acts shocked is because pretending not to understand humanity makes them feel above it. It's a strange sort of moral hide and seek. They hide their human side behind layers of perfume, good lighting, and perfectly crafted statements. Then they seek out anyone who exposes their own flaws and point at them, declaring, "What an unexpected display of humanity," as if humanity is something they've only read about in a book. But you can't hide humanity forever. You can dress it up, polish it, rehearse it, but it always finds a way to show up. It leaks out in the cracks. It slips through in the laughter, the mistakes, the unguarded moments. And when someone stands there and simply tells the truth about how people actually think, actually behave, actually feel, Hollywood isn't shocked because the truth is surprising. They're shocked because the truth is undeniable. And denying truth is one of their favorite hobbies. They deny reality every day in a dozen ways. Their whole existence is pretending. Pretending a story is real. Pretending an emotion is real. Pretending a character is real. They're experts at illusion, so when someone breaks the illusion by being real in a way they can't script or control, it ruins the show for them. It forces them to return to being people instead of performers. And that is what truly scares them, because performers can be judged on performance, but people can be judged on truth. That's why Hollywood reacts with shocked faces. Truth disrupts the illusion, and nothing terrifies an illusion more than a person who refuses to play along.